I remember this, one of the first promotions we did for Nothing Rhymed way back in 1970, and stuff that it was recorded actually in a pub just near Tower Bridge. I do remember that. I also remember that the person who was looking after me had got a new car. So, but it's, my goodness.
If I give up the seat I've been saving to some elder.
And the quality. I mean, when you think that films back in those days, long before video, you were filming for a television show. This was done on location for a television show. The quality wasn't very good back then, but this HD, what the work they've put into this, it makes it look remarkably good. It could have been done at any time in the near future. It's, yeah, it's really good.
Oh man, am I being a good boy? Am I your pride and joy? Mother, please, if you please.
Of course, Nothing Rhymed is very special. I mean, people will often say it's their most, the record they like the most of all that they've done is the first one. And the reason being that the first one is always the most special because it's the first time you've had any success. You've wanted success for 2 or 3 years beforehand. So you get that success. So the song that you do it with will always remain special, even if it didn't turn out to be, say, a number 1 or number 2 or whatever. It's the fact that it was your first success will always make it very special. And that image, it's I kind of like to look back and see how I look because it was so different to everything that was going on at those times. Now here we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Nothing Rhymed, and I think it's quite remarkable that I got away with looking the way I did.
In the course of my duty, I perform an unfortunate take. Would you punish me?
And of course the song will always, as I said earlier, is very special. But the wonderful thing about recording Nothing Rhymed was it was the first time I'd made a record that I was really proud of. I'd made records before, 67, 68. Good songs I'd written, I thought, were good songs, but I wasn't happy with the way they were recorded. The recording session of Nothing Rhymed with Gordon as producer and 3 musicians. There was a guitar player, bass player, Herbie Flowers, very famous for doing Walk on the Wild Side. It was just a remarkable session, a 3-hour session. We did 2 songs and it was a live vocal. I came out of the studio, I was so high. I mean, I didn't think, wow, this could be a success. For me, it was a success just to be at that session, to have played and sang, to come out after that. I felt so good about that. And so I had no idea how or what would happen to the song. But the fact is, I really loved the recording of it, and a lot of other people did too.
So unbelievably so, never again will I make that mistake. This feeling
Look at that hairstyle. See, that's the most fashionable thing today. No sideburns, pudding place and haircuts. Look at every footballer. I look like they look now, but back then, my God, it was a bit odd. But again, it's just the image thing. I created this character, Gilbert. It was kind of like a Just Williams scenario. We all know Just William and stuff. And I did it to be different. I didn't have to do it. And there's no doubt that people who have loved Nothing Rhymed would not have liked how I looked. But so what? That's too bad. I'm really proud of the image. The fact that I was able to do something that was different. Dare to be different was important for me. It had no effect on my writing.
inside me could never deny me the right to be wrong if I choose. And this pleasure I get from, say, winning a bet is to lose.
I also think what makes Nothing Rhymed special to many people is what it's about. It's not a traditional kind of 2-verse, middle 8-verse song. It's interesting when people talk to me, ask me about writing. I tell them it's rather like a newspaper. I tend to, first verse could be about one thing, second verse could be about something else. Common denominator would be the hook line. With Nothing Rhymed, what I think is interesting is that around the time 1969 when I wrote this song, my little bedsit in London, for the first time on television, we were able to see film of, it was Biafra, it was starving children. I mean, nobody had seen this on television before. It was just a revelation for everyone. Horror of seeing these young children, babies, starving, dying. And that had a great effect, not just on me, but on many, many people. And that came out in Nothing Rhymed. And I think it's a kind of subtle way of introducing things that are going on in the world today, which I think is distinguishable with my songwriting. But I think it's all a part of the appeal of Nothing Rhymed. there's a good line, Bonaparte Shandy. People have asked me, what's Bonaparte Shandy? It's really not that difficult. It's just it's a play on Napoleon Brandley. Get it? So that's kind of nice. I like doing things like that and stuff. There was another question somebody said to me, a businessman said to me, how did you come up with that line? The pleasure I get from winning a bet is to lose. He said, that's so true. And he said, what made you come up with that? I said, well, it's no more than a win and a lose. It's no more than the opposite. Writing about it, I hadn't thought about what he had said, but there you go. I'm kind of pleased that people have these interpretations of the lyric.
Eating more than enough apple pies. Will I glance at my screen and see real human beings starved to death right in front of my eyes? Nothing old, nothing new, nothing ventured, nothing gained, nothing stillborn or lost.
Now, on this 50th anniversary, it's kind of nice. I'm not mad about anniversaries, but in this instance, it's well worth it. And I think seeing this film and the way it's been, the HD effect on it is tremendous. So more power to all those who got involved in making this film look as good as it does now. Congratulations to them. So, but yes, I'm not a nostalgic person, but I think for this, Nothing Right is the exception. Always has and always will be.
Nothing further than proof, nothing wilder than you, nothing older than time, nothing sweeter than wine, nothing physically, recklessly, hopelessly blind, nothing I couldn't say, nothing why, 'cause today, nothing rhyme.
Of course I am looking at the film, realizing I'm not singing live. In those days, you're pretty much miming. I'm doing a good job miming to the record. No harm in that. Today we'd be doing that live.
This feeling.
But I'm playing the piano, so that was live. Uprights. It had to be an upright. It wouldn't be a grand piano for me. It had to be an upright with a coat stand. I did have a table lamp which I kept on top of the piano, as opposed to Liberace's candelabra. But that fairly done. It's interesting because the image, where the image didn't work, you could argue was in England. But where it did work was in Holland. They loved it in Holland. That may account for the fact that Nothing Rhyme was the biggest ever success I've had in Holland. It was #1 for weeks in Holland. So they loved that image of me. They were kind of disappointed when I dropped it. But I think there was a lot of people in England who were pleased when I did.
Beside me could never deny me the right to belong if I choose. And this pleasure I get from, say, winning a bet is to lose. Nothing good, nothing bad, nothing ventured, nothing gained, nothing stillborn or lost. Nothing further than proof, nothing wilder than you, nothing older than time, nothing sweeter than wine, nothing physically.
No question, something very special on this 50th anniversary. It's nice to see this again. It'll always be so.
Recklessly, hopelessly blind, nothing I couldn't say, nothing why.